STEM video for the month of May. Today we're going to be doing homemade pop rocks and talking about the differences between a physical change and a chemical change. So I'm so happy that you have joined us today for our video. This is our last STEM video for a while, maybe forever. We're not sure. We're going to see how things play out in the fall, but this summer, for the summer reading program, we're going to do 2 STEM sessions in person at the library. And I'm super excited to get to see you there and do lots of cool, fun STEM, STEAM, science-y things. So, like Abel just showed you a second ago, in your kit, if you registered for the kit and picked it up from the library, you should have some actual Pop Rocks candy. These candies, if you've never had them before, what happens is when you put them in your mouth, they make this crackling, popping feeling and noise. And we're going to simulate that a little bit today by doing some chemistry. All right, the other things in your kit are going to include sugar, which I have my canister of sugar there, and in the bowl in front, I have measured out 2 cups of sugar. You're also going to need some citric acid, which we'll have measured out for you in the kit. You're going to need some corn syrup, which you will have in the kit. You'll get a little bit of baking soda and a little bit of cornstarch. You're also going to get one of these little single drink mix packets. These are going to be our flavoring, okay? And so you're going to get one of these to help you flavor your candy, okay? Optional things that you can use will be food coloring. If you'd like to make your Pop Rocks different colors, you can. And then you'll also need some basic cooking utensils that we're going to use here. You shouldn't need the measuring utensils that I have out because most of the things are going to be measured out for you in your kit. But you will need a pan to pour your candy onto, and you'll need a pot to use on your stove to cook the candy. You can also, as an optional tool, use a candy thermometer. I don't have one of those. And I didn't get one for this because you don't need it, so we're going to do it without it. What?
Does the citric acid make the Pop Rocks pop?
Kind of, yeah. We're going to talk about that in a minute. What, buddy?
When Pop Rocks get wet, they start popping.
That's right.
That's
they get wet.
what causes them to pop.
That's right, and we're going to talk about that and what that actually is. So I think that's all you need for supplies, and all this is going to come in your kit. So let's start talking about the difference between a chemical and a physical change. A physical change is a change in the physical appearance of something, in the way something looks, or the way something changes from one form to another. So in science, when we talk about a physical change, we're talking about maybe like ice melting. Did anything about the water change, or is it still water?
Still water.
It's still water. If I freeze water, if I pour water out of my sink and I put it in my freezer and I leave it there, it's going to turn into ice, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's still water. Did anything about it actually change, or just the way it looked changed?
The way it looked changed.
The way it looked changed. So that's a physical change. Now, physical changes can be reversed or undone. So like I can take the ice out of the freezer and put it in a cup and we can have it melt. Please stop opening the drawer. Or I can take the water from the sink and I can put it in the freezer and we can freeze it and we can undo what we have done. A chemical change, however, is creating a brand new substance or a molecule. It cannot be changed or reversed. So if you guys think about how we used to play with our science kits, there was a lot of baking soda and vinegar. What happens when you mix baking soda and vinegar? What happens, Nora?
It explodes.
It doesn't quite explode. What does it do, Abel?
It kind of like, say this wasn't here, it would go pop.
Okay, kind of, yeah. When we did our soda bottle rocket last summer for our STEM video when we made the soda
That
bottle explode on the driveway.
There
remember?
were a lot of mess-ups on that.
Well, yeah, but they didn't know that because I cut them out of the video.
The magic of editing.
The magic of editing. So what happens when you mix an acid and a base, or baking soda and vinegar, is it creates this chemical change where it creates carbon dioxide, which carbon dioxide creates bubbles. And so then the baking soda and the vinegar starts bubbling and it starts fizzing. And that's how you make like homemade volcanoes and that kind of thing. That's a chemical change. Burning wood or cooking is a chemical change because we're actually creating new molecules. We're actually changing the chemical makeup of that material. Now, okay, I just want to preface this by saying I am not a chemist. I am a librarian. This is my understanding to the best of my ability of the differences between physical and chemical changes. And when I was looking into these things, pop rocks are made in a highly pressurized, fully patented process that we cannot duplicate because it would be incredibly dangerous. You have to put a lot of pressure in to put the carbon dioxide, which, like Abel said earlier, is released when the candy gets wet, and that's what creates the popping and crackling. To be able to get that into the candy, it's a very dangerous process. To the best of my ability, I think making pop rocks is a physical change because all we are doing is adding carbon dioxide, which exists in the atmosphere. It's what we all breathe out when we breathe, right? And we're introducing it into the candy and we're trapping it in the candy, and then, like Abel said, when it gets wet on our tongue, or if you were to drop it into some water, then it would release that carbon dioxide. Okay, so here are the steps to make our own fizzy candy. Now, our candy is not going to pop quite like Pop Rocks is going to do because, like I said, it takes a lot of pressure and it's very dangerous. So we're not going to be able to do that. But what you're going to do is we have a baking sheet here. I have put a silicone mat onto it. You can use parchment paper or whatever you have at home. I'm going to lightly sprinkle some cornstarch on there so you have probably just a little bit of cornstarch in your kits, because all we're going to do is we're just going to sprinkle a little bit on our mat so
like
that
flour.
It's a little like flour, it's powdery, okay? So that it doesn't stick to our mat, okay? And then in our saucepan, we're going to take our 2 cups of sugar, a 1/2 cup of corn syrup, and 1/4 cup of water. So you will need to measure that out. We're not going to provide you with water. You will need to do that on your own. And we're going to cook that until it reaches 300 degrees if you have a candy thermometer, or if you don't, until it is rapidly bubbling, so boiling, for about 1 minute consistently. And then when that's finished, we'll add in a teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 cup of citric acid, a teaspoon of our flavoring, so our little drink mix, and a couple drops of food coloring if you're going to do that. And then we're going to stir it all up, spread it on the baking sheet, and then we're going to have to pause the video because we have to freeze the candy overnight. It's going to take about 6 hours to freeze. So I hope you weren't thinking you were going to get to sit down to this video and eat your Pop Rocks candy right away, because it's got to freeze for a while before you can break it up and really get that crunchy, bubbly, fizzy feeling in your mouth. Okay, so I'm going to get the stove set up and we'll do that part. Okay, so I just want to show you what this looks like. Okay, I have my sugar, my corn syrup, and 1/4 cup of water in my pot. And I'm just going to show you what it looks like inside there. It's kind of this jelly-like substance. And we're going to keep stirring it as it warms up. And once it starts bubbling, I'm going to set a timer for 1 minute. All right, welcome back. It's been about 2 minutes. We are starting to fully bubble. I've been stirring this whole time so that it doesn't stick to my pan. And we're going to go ahead and start the timer. So we have a timer here on the microwave for 1 minute. So once it has bubbled pretty solidly for 1 minute, I'm gonna continue stirring the whole time. Then we're gonna add our 1 or 2 drops of food coloring, which Nora has. We have chosen red. You can choose whatever color you want. However, the flavor you have is fruit punch. So if you would like the color to match the flavor, you can go with red. That's what we're going with. Abel's gonna add 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And we're gonna add 1/4 cup of citric acid. Now, when you see those things add, you're gonna see it really bubble in here. And in just a moment, I'll bring the camera over here to let you see how bubbly it is.
12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
Sorry, guys.
2, 1. Happy New Year's.
Okay, so we're gonna turn that off. I'm gonna turn the heat off. And I'm gonna scoot it. Actually, I'm gonna scoot it towards you guys. Let me get a hot pad.
Hot pad.
Okay, so 1 or 2 drops of food coloring is all we need. 1, 2, that's good. All right, Abel, why don't you put that in, and I will do the 1 teaspoon of
It looks like
baking
blood.
soda. All right, go ahead and dump that in. Good. Whoop.
Jeez, Mom, put them things around.
All right, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda.
No,
All
stir it.
right, then we will stir that all around.
Can I stir it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I will show you guys what that looks like.
Looks
Kind of a red, soupy mess. All right, so we are all done adding our ingredients, and what we have now, I'm gonna come show you how full it has made my pot. This is all the pink fizzy goodness here. It has captured a lot of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and trapped it inside of this big foamy mess. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna pour it right here onto my pan.
Ooh,
That I have ready.
it's really jiggly.
Yeah. And then we're gonna stick it in the freezer overnight.
Don't dare touch that.
And then we will come back to the video, and it'll be like a blink of the eye for you guys. But for us, we will have to wait 6 hours. This needs to go into the freezer for 6 hours. And when you take it out, it'll be frozen. And it'll
And then
be
you
hard.
tear it apart.
And then you break it into chunks that you can eat, and it'll fizz in your mouth. Okay, so we'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, good morning, welcome back. We have all rested, and now it is the next morning for us. It is just a few minutes later for you guys. I will say that I did notice right after I put this in the freezer that we forgot some steps from our recipe. Now, in your kit, there will be a recipe list for you so that you don't forget any steps. I'll probably also put a little picture in the video where we forgot our step so that you don't forget your steps. But we forgot to add the flavor packet. So the little drink mix, I sprinkled it on top of ours, but I was telling Nora and Abel here a little bit ago that it really didn't need it. I tasted it off the spatula when I was cleaning up last night, and because of the citric acid, it kind of already has a citrusy flavor to it. It's also pretty much pure sugar, so it's candy. It's gonna taste yummy anyway. But I sprinkled some of this on top. I also sprinkled a little more cornstarch on the top of it. And now this is what it looks like after being in the freezer all night. It's kind of the bubbly mess, just all frozen. I'm actually gonna, because I have my mat, I can take it right off. We don't even need the pan anymore. And then all we're gonna do is break it into pieces. So the tricky part is how do we do that? And I think if you just kind of crunch the edges. So now, we're just gonna try it. All right, get yourself a small piece.
Small piece.
Everybody take a
We
small
just
piece.
brushed our teeth, Mom.
That's
I
okay.
didn't.
You can brush them again. All right, go ahead and put them on your tongue and feel what it does. Does it make a fizzy feeling?
It tastes sour. I didn't make it. It's too sour for you? No, I still have toothpaste.
Mixing with the toothpaste probably isn't good. But it does kind of create a small fizzing sensation. And like I said, it's not going to be nearly as powerful of a sensation as the Pop Rocks. So why don't you each try Pop Rocks and you can taste and test the difference, you know, because we're doing science here, guys. Candy first thing in the morning, all in the name of science.
It's already popping.
It's already popping in your hand.
I gotta wash
Oh,
it
I
now.
can hear it. Abel, why don't you go closer to the thing and see if they can hear it on the video. Stop. All right, here, Nora, you want to try some Pop Rocks?
Yeah.
Ooh, your hands are wet from washing. All right. I can hear it. Okay, so that's the difference. And like I said, to the best of my librarian abilities, because I am not a chemist, this is only a physical change. Here's Nora right up next to the camera. Okay, thank you, Nora. This is only a physical change because we have not chemically altered anything. We are simply trapping the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere while this was cooking. And so that's why it kind of has a bubbly appearance. And it's not a chemical change. So I want to thank you guys for doing all these STEM videos with me for the last almost 2 years. I hope to see you this summer in the library during our summer reading program and our in-person STEMs. And yeah, I'm glad